Hi, welcome to News English class. I'm your instructor, Dr. Ye. This MOOCS aims at helping you previewing essential course materials prior to your attendance at the classroom. Please spend sufficient time getting yourself acquainted with the contents provided. In the first episode of our News English session, I will begin with a brief introduction of News English to provide the most basic and essential understanding in the way we approach news. This introduction is divided into two important parts. First, I'm going to talk about what newsworthiness means, that is, what makes a news article worthy to read. Second, I'm going to introduce different sections in a newspaper. First, with regards to newsworthiness, I suppose it is essential to ask ourselves, is this article worth reading? Why is it important to us? What level of significance does this news event carry? These questions boil down to the core issue by asking ourselves, what makes a story newsworthy? I have put together 5 categories to understand the concept of newsworthiness. First, we can consider timing. The word news literally means the story or issue being reported is new. Therefore, information of the very latest or the most current event counts in terms of timing. In other words, if events took place a long time ago, they are probably not that worthwhile to be reported considering its timing. Second, we will consider the significance of a news article. That means the number of people being influenced or affected by the event being reported, or the importance of the news to the international relations or to the magnitude of that event. If it is significant, then it may be a newsworthy story accordingly. Third, we have to also consider the proximity of an event that took place. For example, if there are 2 similar accidents took place in Tainan and in Taipei, we may pay more attention to follow up on what happened in Tainan simply because its location is closer to us. However, geographical distance is not the only measure we have to the category of proximity. We can also consider the matter in its cultural terms. For instance, we might consider our national news to be more newsworthy than international news. Fourth, we may consider the prominence of the news. That is to say, if the subject of the news coverage involves celebrities, politicians, or royalties, then perhaps they are more newsworthy simply because they are famous individuals. Finally, when a news article appeals to the sympathy or a sense of curiosity of the readers, that means the news caters to our human interest, which in turn will make the news more worthy to read. So here again, we have covered these 5 categories that constitute the worthiness of a story. They are timing, significance, proximity, prominence, and human interest. Now, I will move on to the second part to introduce different sections in the newspaper. Here, I have listed the top 3 important sections of a newspaper. First, it is called the hard news because this type of news is very serious. This is also what comes to mind when we say the news. And the purpose of the story acts to inform readers of events that have happened within the recent past, usually the day before. It is usually found on the front page of a newspaper or at the very top of a news website. Therefore, they are the most important news that any reader can hardly overlook. Second, we have features, and these stories are generally longer and they go deeper into the subject matter. They may seek to emotionally affect the readers by explaining the news further, or offering perspectives and insights. In a sense, it is similar to hard news because they both serve to inform readers of a news event. But unlike hard news, features contain more detail as suggested before. Third, it is important to introduce to you the editorial or op-ed section. Unlike hard news and features that serve only to inform readers of what happened as facts, articles in the op-ed section doesn't just inform readers about an event, but more crucially, they make their interpretations or provide a particular viewpoint of an event. Therefore, you may expect a particular angle that this particular section uniquely provides. For example, an opinion article doesn't just report a politician's speech, but it will evaluate the speech and direct it into a positive or a negative way. So, the editorial section contains a voice that acts to persuade readers into either way. Certainly, there are a good variety of different sections in the newspaper, such as the sections on sports, finance or business, science, health, entertainment, technology, travel, international news, education, or weather. Obituaries are more commonly seen in Western newspapers that disclose who have passed away. Last but not least, there are classified ads. So here we see a wide range of different sections that may appear in a newspaper, but you can expect that the list may go beyond what we have included here. Now we have reached the end of this episode on the introduction of News English, and I hope you have fully understood the contents provided here. Please also remember to complete the online test for this session before the deadline. I look forward to seeing you in class for further